But we have been brought closer because of the circumstances as well. That's the thing.
Yeah.
You are, uniquely bonded because of what we've been through.
Yeah.
But, even Harry and I, over the years, have not talked enough about it.
Prince William has stunned the world with a revelation that has everyone talking. He has revealed a shocking truth about a secret sister the palace has allegedly hidden for years. For decades, the royal family has tried to maintain a polished image, but this unexpected bombshell threatens to rewrite history. Just when it seemed the monarchy's secrets were safe, William's shocking statement has left many questioning what else might be hidden behind palace walls. So, who is this mysterious sister? And why has her story been kept in the shadows? Join us as we uncover the truth behind this royal scandal. The hidden royal sister who shocked Sandringham. When King Charles married Camilla in 2005, the world focused on how she would fit into the royal family. But what many didn't know was that Camilla had 2 children from her first marriage, Tom Parker Bowles and Laura Lopez. While Tom has occasionally made headlines, Laura has stayed in the shadows, and her connection to Prince William and Prince Harry was not made known until now. She's an art curator, married with children, and lives a completely private life. Because Laura doesn't hold royal titles and rarely attends public events, many had no idea she even existed. The palace has kept her out of the spotlight, and for years, her story was quietly hidden from public view. But now, the truth about William's stepsister is coming to light. So why was Laura kept out of the picture for so long? Keep watching to find out more on this. The royal Christmases at Sandringham have long been known for their calm, traditional celebrations, steeped in British history. But the 2024 holiday was different. It was more just the usual quiet gathering this year, as there was a big surprise. The royal family's Christmas celebrations were about to take a turn with the arrival of Prince William's secret sister, Laura Lopez, who hadn't been seen in the royal spotlight for years. As Queen Camilla's daughter from her first marriage, Laura's presence at Sandringham that Christmas was a big surprise and shocking moment for the royal community. What made Laura's appearance even more surprising was the history between her and Prince William. For years, these two were not particularly close. In fact, their relationship had been quite strained, mostly due to the complicated feelings that William had toward his father's second marriage to Camilla. But in 2024, something had changed. Laura wasn't just a distant relative showing up for a one-off family event. She was at Sandringham, joining the rest of the royal family in what seemed to be an unspoken acknowledgement that old wounds might finally be healing. Before the Christmas celebration, many didn't even know if William and Laura had resolved their differences. Their past conflicts were no secret, and there had been whispers for years about the friction between them. The reason for their strained relationship stemmed from deep-rooted feelings about the divorce of their parents. William, being the son of Princess Diana, had always been protective of his late mother. And Camilla's marriage to Prince Charles caused him, along with his brother Harry, great pain. That emotional baggage undoubtedly weighed on the relationship with Laura, who was fiercely loyal to her mother, Camilla. The friction between William and Laura wasn't just a matter of awkward family dinners, it was personal. According to several royal sources, their disagreements went beyond the surface. Even royal author Katie Nicholl, in her 2010 book, described the tension between William and Harry. She wrote about how the two would argue bitterly, with William blaming Camilla for hurting his mother, while Laura fired back, saying that it was her father, Prince Charles, who had ruined her life. These arguments reportedly escalated, with neither willing to back down. For years, this set the tone for their relationship, leaving their interactions strained and distant. However, as time passed, things began to shift. In 2005, when Prince Charles and Camilla married, William and his brother Harry put aside their personal differences for the sake of a family unity. They also made an effort to reconcile with their new step-siblings, which included Laura and Tom Parker Bowles. Although this was a positive step forward, the bond between William and Laura never really blossomed. Their relationship remained distant, and their past disagreements lingered in the background, making any chance of true closeness difficult. But looking at the 2024 Royal Christmas at Sandringham, things seem to have changed. The Christmas celebrations at Sandringham were shaping up to be an event like no other. This year, there was a palpable sense of anticipation, not just because of the holiday cheer, but because of Laura's unexpected presence. For many, this was a sign that the royal family was evolving. They were moving past old grudges and beginning to embrace a more inclusive approach to family. The fact that Laura Lopes was invited to join the royal family in such a prominent setting as Sandringham marked a new chapter in the royal story. It's no surprise that the royal family, especially King Charles and Queen Camilla, were eager to make this year's Christmas celebrations extra special. After all, 2024 had been a difficult year for them. King Charles was undergoing treatment for cancer, and his health had been a cause of concern for the entire family. At the same time, Kate, the Princess of Wales, had bravely fought her own battle with the disease. These personal struggles had taken a toll on the family, but they also brought them closer together. And speaking of challenges, the royal family has dealt with a lot of challenges over the past decades, one that many of us can't even imagine. Stay tuned as we delve more into the most intriguing part of this story: the birth of the House of Windsor and the trials of royal marriages. Before we dive into the challenges the royal family faces today, let's take a step back and look at the history of the House of Windsor to get a better understanding of all this. The story began in 1701. Back then, the succession to the throne was given to a woman named Sophia of Hanover. She wasn't directly from the British royal family, but she was the granddaughter of James VI and first of the House of Stuart. She was from the House of Wittelsbach, and when she married into the House of Hanover, that's when things started to change for Britain's monarchy. Sophia's son became George I in 1714, marking the beginning of the Hanoverian royal family's rule in Britain. This was a pretty big deal because it started a long period of British history that eventually led to today's royal family. However, a new chapter began in 1901 when the House of Saxe-Coburg and Gotha took over the British monarchy, when King Edward VII, the son of Queen Victoria and Prince Albert, came to the throne. This was a whole new branch of the family, but still tied to the Hanoverian roots. However, things weren't all smooth sailing. As World War I ramped up, anti-German feelings were on the rise in Britain. And, since the royal family had German connections, the people started to feel uncomfortable with that. And by 1917, things had gotten so intense that King George V made a bold decision. He changed the royal family's name from the German-sounding name Saxe-Coburg and Gotha to the much more English name Windsor. He did this to distance the royal family from its German heritage and align more closely with the British public, who were growing increasingly wary of anything German during the war. It was a smart move, considering that the royal family needed to maintain its popularity and trust among the people. The name Windsor came from the royal residence, Windsor Castle, and had a long association with the monarchy. It was a strong move that signaled the family was modernizing, but also reminded everyone of their deep British roots. But it wasn't just about changing the name. George V also decided to restrict royal titles, limiting them to just his closest family members. In 1919, he even stripped some of his German relations of their British titles. It was all part of a bigger plan to show that the royal family was in step with the times and was ready to shed the old German ties. Later, the monarchy faced another crisis during the brief reign of King Edward VIII. Born in 1894, Edward became king in 1936, but reigned for less than a year, making his tenure one of the shortest in British history. His reign was overshadowed by his highly controversial relationship with American divorcee Wallis Simpson. Although their affair was long-standing, it was widely expected that he would end it upon becoming king and marry someone deemed suitable to serve as queen. However, Edward was resolute in his desire to marry Wallis, despite significant opposition from the public, the government, and even his own family. The controversy stemmed from the fact that Wallis had been divorced twice, which posed a significant problem. As the head of the Church of England, Edward was bound by its teachings, which forbade remarriage after divorce if former spouses were still alive. This legal and religious conflict created a constitutional crisis, as Edward's determination to marry Wallis directly challenged the traditional expectations of the monarchy. Ultimately, he chose to abdicate the throne rather than abandon his plans to marry her, marking one of the most dramatic moments in royal history. This decision set the stage for years to come, as other royals faced their own struggles with love, duty, and the pressures of tradition. Edward VIII's decision to abdicate the throne in 1936 shook the monarchy deeply, but it also revealed the ongoing clash between tradition and change, something that continued to affect royal marriages for generations. However, both Edward VIII's and King Charles III's marriages had really sparked controversy in the royal family, but they unfolded in a very different way. When Edward chose to marry Wallis Simpson, it was seen as a direct threat to the monarchy and political stability. Meanwhile, Charles's marriage to Camilla Parker Bowles happened in a more accepting era, but it still broke royal tradition and raised questions about how the monarchy fits into modern society. Edward VIII's marriage to Wallis Simpson caused outrage for several reasons. And since Edward was the head of the Church of England, which didn't allow remarriage if an ex-spouse was alive, his choice created even more tension. The public also couldn't see Wallis as their queen due to her background and status. So, under intense pressure from the government, the church, and his family, Edward gave up the throne to marry Wallis. He became the Duke of Windsor and spent the rest of his life away from royal duties. While Charles, on the other hand, faced different challenges with his marriage to Camilla. By 2005, society's views on divorce had changed a lot, so their marriage wasn't as shocking as Edward's. Even so, it broke with royal tradition. They had a civil wedding instead of a church ceremony because their relationship began as an affair. While they later held a prayer service, Queen Elizabeth II didn't attend, citing her role as the head of the Church of England and its teachings. Charles's path to the throne was also shaped by his highly publicized marriage to Princess Diana. Their wedding in 1981 was a global spectacle, but their marriage was far from the fairy tale it appeared to be. They separated in 1992 and divorced in 1996, after years of scandals and unhappiness. Charles's affair with Camilla was a major reason for their split. And by the time he married Camilla, the public had mostly accepted their relationship, but it still marked a change from the traditional image of the monarchy. Edward and Charles's stories showed how attitudes toward marriage, divorce, and the royal family have evolved. Edward's marriage was seen as a betrayal of his role as king, while Charles's marriage reflected a monarchy adjusting to the modern world. However, both raised questions about balancing personal happiness with public duty, and what it means to be a royal in changing times. These struggles weren't limited to Edward and Charles, as Princess Margaret, Queen Elizabeth II's sister, also had to give up her love for Group Captain Peter Townsend, a divorcee, because of societal expectations and the Church's stance. The heartbreak of that decision stayed with Margaret for life, showing the personal sacrifices often required of royals. Even Queen Elizabeth II's other children also had trouble in their marriages. Things got really bad in 1992, which was a year the Queen called Annus Horribilis, meaning horrible year in Latin. That's when all three of their marriages basically fell apart. And by the 1990s, divorce was becoming more common and accepted in society. But for the royal family, it was still a big deal. They're held to a higher standard, and divorce carried a stigma. It was seen as embarrassing or shameful. Also, the media and the public were super interested in these royal marriage problems. They wrote about it, talked about it, and it was all over the news. This attention made people wonder if the royal family was outdated and struggling to adapt to modern life. However, looking back at King Charles, his challenges didn't stop with his marriage to Camilla. When he became king in 2022 after the death of his mother, Queen Elizabeth II, people questioned how he, as a divorcee, could serve as the defender of the faith and head of the Church of England. This showed the ongoing challenge for the monarchy, how to honor its history while staying relevant in today's world. Interestingly, Charles is the first British monarch to have both a civil marriage and a divorce, showing how far the monarchy has come since Edward VIII's time. And as 2024 unfolded, King Charles III also faced a unique set of challenges, testing the monarchy's ability to adapt in a fast-changing world. Here's the most astonishing part: the hidden struggles and challenges of the royal family. The year 2024 began on a somber note, as the royal family was rocked by a double health scare. On the same day, it was revealed that Kate Middleton, Princess of Wales, and Prince William's wife had undergone abdominal surgery, and King Charles was admitted to the hospital for a benign prostate condition. Kate's hospitalization lasted 13 days, and she was expected to take several months to recover. Meanwhile, the king's diagnosis prompted concern, but also reflected his commitment to transparency, as he made his medical battle public to raise awareness about cancer. Kate's surgery was later confirmed as unrelated to cancer, which provided some relief to the family and the public. However, despite these health scares, the royal family remained active in their public duties. King Charles resumed his duties in the spring after a short period of rest, and his public engagements, including 2 state visits and a major tour to Australia, showed his resilience. And Camilla, by his side, often remarked that her husband was doing extremely well under the circumstances, emphasizing their dedication to their roles even in times of personal difficulty. However, the year continued with more unsettling news for the family. In February, Buckingham Palace made a shocking announcement that King Charles had been diagnosed with cancer. However, the exact type was undisclosed, but the public statement was intended to prevent rumors and raise awareness about cancer. In response, Prince Harry traveled to the UK to visit his father, though the meeting was brief, and speculation about tensions within the family persisted. The announcement of the king's illness put a spotlight on the challenges facing the royal family, and Kate's own health struggles added to the emotional weight. A few weeks after the king's diagnosis, Kate revealed that she, too, had been diagnosed with cancer and was undergoing chemotherapy. Her message to the public was one of hope and resilience, despite the shock of the diagnosis. She admitted that she was not yet out of the woods, but her determination to push forward gave the royal family a sense of solidarity. The king, visibly moved by his daughter-in-law's bravery, expressed how proud he was of her for sharing her journey with the world. As the year went on, the health struggles within the family continued. In March, Sarah, Duchess of York, was diagnosed with skin cancer. Though the diagnosis was serious, she was relieved to learn that it had not spread. This news was a temporary reprieve, but it still weighed heavily on the family, who had already been dealing with significant health concerns. Meanwhile, Prince Andrew was dealing with ongoing legal issues. In January, a large number of court documents related to his relationship with Jeffrey Epstein became public. The documents brought up old allegations of sexual assault, which Andrew has said are not true. As a result, the public was paying even closer attention to Andrew's actions, and his reputation was suffering. Things got even worse when it was discovered that Andrew had connections to someone suspected of spying for China, which raised concerns about national security and led to even more criticism. While Andrew's scandal was still making headlines, the rest of the royal family was trying to continue with their normal duties. Princess Anne, who has always been a reliable member of the royal family, kept attending official events despite the personal difficulties she was facing. Her commitment to her work was clear, but in June she had an accident while out riding her horse at her Gatcombe Park estate. The accident left her with a concussion and minor head injuries, and she had to spend several days in the hospital. Thankfully, she made a full recovery, but it was a reminder of the physical demands of being a member of the royal family. At the same time, Prince William and Kate were making an effort to maintain a positive public image, despite the rumors and challenges they were facing. William, who had taken on more responsibilities while his father was ill, continued to attend royal events, including a trip to the Scilly Isles, where he celebrated his new role as Duke of Cornwall. He also attended a major charity event, where he reassured volunteers that he would take care of Kate while she recovered from her health issues. Despite their best efforts, the royal family's personal and public lives were constantly being scrutinized. The media frenzy surrounding Kate's health, Prince Andrew's ongoing legal troubles, and the continuing rift between Prince Harry and the rest of the family created an atmosphere of tension and speculation. And it often seemed like the royal family was fighting battles on multiple fronts, both within and outside the family. In June, as part of their ongoing duties, Charles and Camilla attended the 80th anniversary commemorations of D-Day in Portsmouth and Normandy. These events were particularly emotional as they honored the sacrifices of previous generations. However, the political turmoil at the time led to a major mistake when then Prime Minister Rishi Sunak was heavily criticized for missing an important international ceremony to record a TV interview. Although the royal family's participation in the commemorations was dignified, the political misstep added to the sense of uncertainty surrounding the year's events. However, despite the challenges, there were moments of celebration. Prince Louis's 6th birthday was marked with a rare photo, and Princess Charlotte's 9th birthday brought a smile to the public when Kate released a picture of the young royal next to a blooming clematis. These joyful moments reminded many of the importance of family bonds, even in tough times. The year was also notable for its cultural and political milestones. Charles made an official visit to Cardiff to celebrate 25 years of Welsh devolution, and he played a key role after the UK's general election, offering his support to the new Prime Minister, Sir Keir Starmer. The King's duties continued, but the political landscape seemed to shift beneath his feet. Later, Kate made her first public appearance after her cancer diagnosis at Trooping the Colour, where she appeared alongside her family. She was open about her progress, acknowledging that she still faced challenges but had the strength to keep going. The royal family's appearance at Trooping was a chance for the public to see a united front, despite the personal hardships each member was facing. Later in the summer, William embraced his role as a doting father, attending a Taylor Swift concert with Prince George and Princess Charlotte to celebrate his 42nd birthday. This moment of normalcy contrasted with the royal family's ongoing struggles, Yet it showed that despite the challenges, the family remained united and supportive of each other. Throughout these events, the family continued to manage their public duties while navigating personal difficulties. Kate returned to public life after her chemotherapy. Charles worked to fulfill his responsibilities despite his cancer diagnosis. And the ongoing issues surrounding Prince Andrew complicated their year. And despite these challenges, the importance of family, resilience, and support remained central to their journey. As the year ended, the royal family's story was far from over. Health battles, political challenges, and personal conflicts continued to shape their lives, but they stayed committed to their roles and each other. 2024 was a year of hardship, yet also one of strength and unity, as the family faced adversity together. With everything happening behind the scenes, the royal family saw Christmas as a time to focus on healing and togetherness. Their festive celebrations began privately at Anmer Hall in Norfolk, where the children excitedly exchanged gifts on Christmas Eve, honoring the tradition introduced by Queen Victoria. Carol Middleton, the children's grandmother, added a personal touch by giving special Christmas Eve boxes, adding an extra layer of excitement. On Christmas Day, the royal family attended the traditional service at St. Mary Magdalene Church in Sandringham, followed by a grand Christmas lunch at Sandringham House. However, the most significant moment was watching King Charles's Christmas speech, which reflected their resilience during a challenging year. The surprise appearance of William's secret sister, Laura Lopes, who is now part of the royal fold, symbolized healing and progress. But despite this, unresolved tensions still lingered, particularly for William, as the scars of his mother's death continued to impact his relationship with Camilla and Laura. So what are your thoughts on this? And do you think the royal family has truly healed from past tensions? Or are there still unresolved issues beneath the surface? Drop it in the comment section below. If you enjoyed watching this video, make sure to like, share, and subscribe to our channel for more. Also, click the next video shown on your screen. You will enjoy it.